Social media, social club.
Social media, social club.
Social media, social club.
That's all right.
I kind of harmonised at the bass note there.
Welcome to another episode of Social Media Social Club, the podcast where we talk all things social media culture. I'm here with my friend Hannah.
Oh, I'm here with my friend Josh.
And we're here with our friend Ross.
Hello, friends.
Hello.
That was very cute.
Ross is head of
Creative.
Thanks
for remembering.
I was just making sure you knew.
Oh, right, yeah. I think I've got it.
It was a test of your creativity to see if you
Yes.
could come up with a new title for yourself on the spot.
No, I'll stick with the one I've been assigned. Yes.
Let's not beat around the bush today. We're here to talk today about parasocial relationships.
Yes.
On the internet.
Hannah, what is a parasocial relationship? I love doing this to you.
I know, you always catch me off guard. Well, like, a parasocial relationship to me is when you think in your brain that you have some sort of relationship or friendship with someone that you don't actually know or they don't feel the same back to you. So it can be either with, like, a celebrity, an influencer, someone that you see online. That's what we want to talk about today, the online version of parasocial relationships. There is a darker side to it.
Yes.
That's much more in real life.
That we may skirt around. We'll see how we go.
Yeah.
But
I think this is the kind of really interesting side for us, how people build relationships with people that they only interact with on the internet and that might be quite one-sided or completely one-sided.
Yeah, I mean, I researched this a bit beyond my own knowledge and experience of it, and the online bit's quite dark as well. So there's lots of strange stuff in it, but yeah, it's not always it doesn't always have to go to a bad place. There are people that can have I think everyone has parasocial relationships, but it's when people start to sort of imprint feelings and emotions and ideas of what a person is like onto them that actually hasn't been portrayed, and that's when things start to get a bit weird.
Yeah.
And also vice versa, if people are aware of parasocial relationships and then use that to manipulate. So I think that, it's fairly well documented, I think at this stage, that everyone likes Taylor Swift in our office, is that I think there's a healthy parasocial relationship there of like people that like this person, they identify with them, they want to consume all the media that they produce, and then also follow them around the world to go to various different concerts and things like that. That seems like on a quite healthy level. And I think from Taylor Swift's point of view, I'm sure she's like quite happy with some of these, but then there will be people within that group who feel a bit more about it, like more intense.
I think it's people take it too far, because I think it's if you're engaging with a person in the way that they have allowed you to. So, for example, going to every Taylor Swift concert, that to me isn't going to be uncomfortable for Taylor Swift, because it's like, absolutely. That's what I've invited you to. You're welcome to come to that. That's the part of my life that I'm giving to you. Liking her Instagram posts, wanting to keep up to date with what she's doing, watching behind the scenes stuff of things. That's all stuff that she's invited you into. Whereas there was stuff recently where she tried to go to a wedding and then it was crowds and crowds of people outside this wedding that wanted to get photos of her. And that to me is extremely uncomfortable, because she hasn't invited you there. That's not your space. She's not Taylor Swift, a celebrity in that moment. She's just trying to live her life. So I think that's where it becomes like people think that they're entitled to these people, because I've given you access to this much of me, so that then people then take that as I have access to all of you and you are mine. And like you're indebted to me because I'm your big fan. So you need to give me everything. But that is really not the case.
Well, I was actually thinking about this was when I was sort of doing a little tiny bit of research for this was we talk about stans, right?
Well, I was just about to say that.
That comes from the Eminem song "Stan," which is about like a crazed fan. That word "stan" is like, oh, I'm a stan for that person, or you're a stan for that person.
It's used positively.
It's quite positively and quite a sort of casual thing, but actually the context of that is quite grim. So
well, that's the thing. I think people generally do assume that parasocial relationships are always negative, but like you said, I don't think they always are. I think it's where the lines are drawn between that person and being drawn by that person, and whether the person chooses, as their fans choose to cross.
At the end of the day, it's just a connection that you have with somebody, and that you could have in some ways, you could have a parasocial relationship with a brand. You doesn't always. I think there's like you can have some sort of feel like this brand speaks to me in a way that no other brand speaks to me, and therefore and at that level, when we're talking about the sort of positive level, I think that's it's just a connection where you feel that you share some sort of common ground. I think which is a good thing.
Yeah, influencers would not exist if this didn't exist as something that happens in our head. Yeah. Because the whole point is that they let you into their life enough that they can build a connection with you through a screen, and you feel like you know them and you feel like you're part of their world. So then when they say, I really like this product, or I've liked using it, that's then when they can actually use that as a business, because you then are feel inclined to buy that, or you think, if they like it and I really connect with them and I generally like the same stuff as them, maybe it's something I should try. So influencers would not have been able to make that a business if this didn't exist as a concept or something that happens in our brains.
Yeah, and sorry.
No, there's on you go.
I was just going to say, and as with all types of advertising, people naturally start to see through influencing. You can look at them and go, oh yeah, you're just I'm sure you really love this thing. You obviously don't. But when you've already connected with somebody, a content creator, and then they're suddenly talking about something, and you're like, well, I know that this person well enough to know that they probably do endorse this product, so it is good. And therefore that works, rather than it just being like you're someone you follow because they talk about video games is suddenly saying you should buy this hair loss cream or something. I don't know why I thought of that, but there's a metal podcast I listen to called used to listen to, that's the story, called Macho Grande, which is just two guys. There's a Northern Irish guy and an English guy, who are just mates, and they just started a podcast, and they do play some songs and they talk about metal music, metal news and stuff like that. They always ask people to send emails in, and people occasionally do, and I just started regularly sending them stuff, and they also have a voicemail number, so I would, after I'd been to a gig, I would phone them and leave a voicemail of a review of the gig I was at, and it became a bit of a thing where there's a year and a bit probably where I was sort of cropping up every second episode as either an email or a voicemail. Mm-hmm. And they were like, and they actually started going like, maybe we should start getting Ross into the podcast. I think they were joking, but because it would be an Englishman, an Irishman, and a Scotsman. Uh-huh. And it was this whole thing. And I felt super invested. I was like, and the feeling of listening to myself being like on the, and what they were going to say after I was like, I don't know. It took me back to watching kids TV, and when if you send a picture in and they told your picture, it was an amazing feeling, and I was like, and even though they're just random guys. One of them's does DJs, one of them's a graphic designer, and I was like, I just felt so invested. But then when the new Tool album came out, whenever it's not new anymore, I sent them a message saying, looking for, I'd said this other thing, and I was like, I can't wait for the Tool album, I'll send you my review. And then I never did it. And I felt like I'd let them down, and I stopped listening to the podcast because I felt like I'm embarrassed that I had let them down. And I'm sure they didn't. I'm sure they didn't care. They were probably just like, maybe they were like, haven't heard from Ross for a while. But in my mind, I'd invented this thing as people were waiting to hear what I thought. And then I invented this entire thing about how this interaction with them, I did message them trying to meet up at a Tool gig, and I didn't manage. They were up for it, but it didn't happen in the end. Mm-hmm. But even then, I was anxious. I was like, I'm gonna have to say, sorry, I never sent that in when I said, and that's just partly my self-esteem, which is an interesting thing because in my research, I was like, parasocial relationships and self-esteem are quite combined. Mm-hmm. So I think that's probably one of my a lot of that is my own issue, but I just thought it was a really interesting thing. I literally can't bring myself to listen to the podcast anymore because I feel like there was this weird thing that I'd created that then sort of faded away.
But then I suppose obviously you experienced a kind of negative feeling associated with that, but at the time they had managed to build such a strong community and you felt so part of something with people that you didn't know. And I think like it's so easy to think, oh, that's weird or that's creepy, but that is actually such a nice thing. And I think that is a really nice thing about, there are certain little pockets of this on the internet, and they're really, really nice spaces for people. And I think, like you were saying, like self-esteem, or people that like struggle with their confidence, or they feel like they can't go out and make friends, if they can do that in a place that feels really safe for them, and if that is the internet, and if there's like communities there where they can build these relationships, I think that then crosses the line where it actually then becomes more of an actual relationship, if it is a community and there is like talking both ways.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that's you've actually built a relationship,
right.
and that's probably why you felt such a strong sense of like, I've let them down, because they were also interacting with you. It wasn't a one-sided
Well, it was
thing.
off the back of them making the joke, and it was a joke about like, oh, we should get Ross to be on the podcast. And I had this whole little moment of like, oh, actually, we could do that if we wanted. But like, and then I think I got a bit like, oh, like I'm part of this now, so I have to. People are waiting for my whatever, and then so that's why it felt so intense when I was like, oh, I didn't do that, and like it literally, they probably just didn't even notice, but I invented this whole extra thing. But yeah, it's interesting, and I think you're so right about the interaction, because I think when it can become a little bit shady is when people are going, oh, it's all one-sided. I'm saying all this stuff to this person, and I'm imagining what's coming back. Like you know, like I love Harry Styles, and when I send him DMs that he doesn't read, then I'm imagining that he probably does read them, and he would have wanted to say this, he just doesn't have time, or whatever, you know. And then that's when things start to spiral out of control a little bit.
You can definitely get to a bad place. Not from my experience, I don't message him.
I know, I wasn't looking directly at
like,
you when
I like him a normal amount.
Yeah, I was on a YouTube video of a podcast that I listened to. I was just reading the comments, because sometimes I'll do that if I'm just listening along to it. But they were like, oh, here they are, the boys, my two best friends that don't know that exists. Like, and I was like, God, that is exactly what it's like, isn't it?
That is so funny. I think the interesting side of it to me is almost the other side. So as someone that puts things online, are we always aware of what that means, and like the numbers are actual eyeballs and actual people? Because I think I sometimes forget that. So like, I don't really post them on social media, because I started to get kind of freaked out about people that I didn't necessarily speak to, like knowing things about me. I got a bit like, if I want to tell someone something, I'll just message them, or I'll send them a photo, or I'll send them a video, rather than putting it on Instagram, for example. But I think like my only experience then of really using social media is using it through work. And obviously a big part of that has been doing the hydrogen TikTok, which is, you guys are all out on that every day, and we're kind of looking at it, and you'll say, oh, that one's only got 10,000 views, that one's only got 30,000 views, and it's like, that is 30,000 people who have seen at least part of that video.
60,000 eyeballs.
Yeah, that's a lot of people seeing content, and it's you guys, but it's you guys being you. It's not acting. It's you putting yourself out there.
This is the thing, isn't
so
it?
then
like,
that's where, and we do have people that are regular commenters, and people that regularly are obviously watching the videos. So like that's a really small way of looking at it. Like obviously we're not at this kind of big like influencer level, but I think it can start so small that you can start to build these communities, or like have people that can regularly check in with your content, or like feel the need to comment, or feel like they know you in some way because they know a lot about you if you're sharing your own personal stories.
And not in a pompous way, but I know that I there are comments that I get, and I have considered like, oh, maybe I should post stuff on TikTok. Maybe people would want to listen to what I talk about. But then sometimes I'm like, well, I feel like once the door is open, I mean, you can close it again, but also like you're sort of, I don't know. I think if you have to make a real conscious decision for your life if you want to do that.
Yeah,
it's going to be your thing.
I think that's the thing.
And I'm not sure that is something that I actually want to do. You know, and I think the other thing is like, I mean, I've got kids, and I have this issue with people putting their kids online. I mean, like my wife posts pictures of my kids like in a happy playing in the park and stuff like that. But people that use their kids for content and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that sometimes when I think about like parasocial relationships that people have with that content creator being like, oh, the reason I watch this is because I really like watching this person parent their kids. I don't know. I just think there's something that's quite a intense reason to watch things. So I just think you should always be, just what you're saying about like the people that are, you're putting stuff out there. You want to make sure that you're having the right kind of relationships. You know, like why are people watching it for the right reasons? And that's.
You never know what side of the internet stuff is going to end up on. And I know that can be in a really, really, really negative, scary way.
Absolutely,
but just in like very, very small ways, like sometimes something will just land with the wrong audience and you'll see that the interactions are so completely different. And I think that is that thing where it's like people are used to their own little world online. So if they're randomly kind of fed something that doesn't fit within that, they're like, whoa, I need to comment on this. I need to say something. This is crazy.
Yes. There's a TikTok creator who's like an aspiring actor who does. I've found his content a bit annoying. Like he does these weird impressions and things like that. But he does want to be an actor. But he's developed quite a big community, I think, and they're all quite. I've seen reading his comments, like people are quite behind him, like being successful, and he has. There is that relationship has been created with his community. And then he posted a thing calling the SAG-AFTRA strikers scabs. It wasn't. It was that he was saying that he didn't see why he shouldn't work. Like he was like, I'll just, if they don't want to do it, I'll do it, kind of thing. And his community just turned on him, like instantly turned on him, and were like, this is like, if you want to work in this industry, you have no idea what you're talking about. And it was like the next few posts were him like going, whoa guys, hey, I'm still cool, I'm still funny, and I'm still trying to do it, and trying to get that relationship back on course. And then ultimately I think he did that thing where people do where they go, I'm just going to take a break for a few weeks just to see everything and try to let the dust settle a bit. I don't know why he thought that position would go over well, and that seemed like a real like oversight from my point of view, but like you can destroy those relationships like instantly. And I think that's one of the things, like real relationships with people, you can damage those, but I always feel like the connections are stronger in a way. Yeah,
because you can have a conversation.
Yeah, you can talk. I mean, obviously you can say something to somebody and then they'll never talk to you again, but it's quite an extreme thing. But like just by doing what you were doing before, but maybe just modifying it a bit, can suddenly just go, oh, there is like 700,000 people that now just don't want to follow me anymore. Yeah. It's like kind of catastrophic for what you're trying to build. If you think about every single one of those is a little parasocial relationship that's suddenly just been broken. Yeah.
How do you repair that? Because that's also the thing with the creator. They actually have a relationship with their followers and they probably think, they all love me, I can kind of do what I want. So he won't have been overthinking everything that he's doing, because he's like, I've now got a following, I've got people that will support me, they seem to love me.
People get me.
But but that feeling must be horrible when it's you instantly just break that. So it's actually like, all his followers have lost one person that they liked. He's then lost thousands of people.
Yes.
So that must be such a blow. And like when you're saying people need to take a break after that, I've always thought of it as like, all right, you need to take a break. But actually, if you think of it like that, they've lost a relationship with thousands of people because they said one thing and you can't take it back because it's on the internet. And people instantly download these videos and they'll like stitch it and they'll put it into another video. It's always going to be there.
Well, that was exactly what happened. Was that there was. The reason I don't follow him because like I said, I find him quite annoying. But like I saw it from stitches of other people that I follow, and it was literally like everybody was going for him.
Well, there was something you kind of touched on earlier. Like people, it's nice when people are nice, but people are also occasionally horrible. And
just in general, or
like human nature there.
Like most people, like anytime I've had an interaction about someone that has known me from the TikTok, it's been positive.
Yeah.
But there's also people who clearly don't like me on the TikTok, and I'm like,
there's hidden comments.
Yeah, you have some haters.
Yeah, they also just exist in Glasgow, and they've probably seen me about and I've not known.
Yeah.
Which I think is weird to think.
They've been following you, Joe.
But I think the thing is, this is the thing where you could actually get loads of really nice comments, and then there was that one person that was like, oh, he's got a podcast now as well, or something. And this is someone who commented a lot saying like negative things about Josh, or like tagging people. So you think like, there might be people that like you, but there's one person out there, and that person is talking to people and saying, do you know that guy from that TikTok is so annoying.
Which is it's just a weird thought, isn't it?
And you can so easily spiral into that. I think instead of, it must be so hard when, like, we obviously experience it at a smaller level, but see if you're an influencer and you're the only person, you're putting yourself out there, and you get that one negative comment and you just start to think like, that is a person and they don't like me. They don't know me, but they know that they don't like me, and they probably talk about me to people or say, oh my God, I've just got their video again, look at them. Like, it's so easy to spiral out of control just thinking about that one person. So if it was like multiple people, it was thousands of people,
And you think
that would
about
really
it, like,
take you to a
you're like,
bad
oh, why
place.
why does that person not like me? And then you think, you start thinking about your faults and your character flaws that you might feel like. You're like, they don't even know any of that stuff. Like,
and you don't know them either. Like, so you like, it's like you don't even have a chance to not like them because you don't know them. So that it's actually quite unfair.
Yeah, well, it's like I've seen that kind of content that people put out sometimes where they'll take a comment of someone that's been rude to them on their TikTok or whatever. And then they just delve through their profile and like stitch a thing with loads of photos of them going, oh, you're slagging me off for being bald, but look at you, you're bald, or whatever, you know, all that kind of stuff. So.
Bit of a specific example.
You just came in here as the hairiest man in Glasgow and been like blow after blow to Josh. He decided to shave his head.
I know. I think that the interactions I've had have mostly been awkward, but nice. But like, I was at a wedding and a barmaid was like, oh, I've seen you on my TikTok. And I was like, oh yeah, it's like the work. And then there was this like 5-second pause. And I just went, gin tonic and a beer, please.
Well, yeah, because you feel like it's not like you've got a catchphrase or something like that.
You're gonna do like your bit.
And also you're like, it's not like a celebrity. You go, you like the person's not want a photo with you. They're just saying,
I know.
They're just going, oh, I recognise you because I've seen you.
Gav got a photo.
So, yeah, Gav got a photo.
Actually, that's not true. I have had people ask for photos. but I mean, generally, like, it would be, imagine offering. They go, no.
Oh, you're meaning that you go to them, would you like a photo?
I suppose you want a photo then.
I look best in landscape.
They went, oh, big fan of your TikTok, and then they referenced an answer I gave in a TikTok later in the evening, and I was like, I said that.
And another example I had was that, which, not to bring the podcast on a pure downer, but like I've suffered with mental health problems over the years, and when the lead singer Scott Hutchison from Frightened Rabbit sadly took his own life, I've always felt like he was writing songs for me, and obviously I'm self-aware enough to know that obviously is not the case, but I did feel a big connection with him because he sang about things that I felt, and when that happened during a difficult time that I was having, and I felt like the most acute connection to that event, that it was really a difficult time for me during that time. So I was like, and because that relationship was suddenly broken through that act. Yeah. And it was quite a strange sensation to have, where I was like, oh, that guy that I love, that I feel this connection with, is never going to write me any more songs. Yeah. And I think that, from, we've worked with Tiny Changes, the charity that was set up in the wake of that, and I think a lot of people felt like that because that's what his music was like. And I think people form those types of relationships with anybody. So it's just about whether you find that connection that sparks with you, and then you're kind of hooked in. So, sorry, that was a bit of a downer. But
No, I think that's a really nice way of looking at it, because that is where you feel quite seen by people, and like it's maybe something that you couldn't put into words, but actually having people that you can connect with that can put your feelings into words is a very powerful thing, I think. And that's why people really connect to like artists, because it's someone that can
and you kind of go, I've never thought of something like that, and it can change your whole perspective on your own life. Like people, I know it's kind of hackneyed for people to say, oh, this music saved my life, but that's definitely true in some cases.
I think music is a really interesting one, because even things like movies and TV and stuff, you can have a connection with an actor or a character even, but there's something so make-believe about that. But music is real. Like, it's a real thing.
Putting a real...
Yeah, it's so if you're like, oh, this person's pouring their heart out onto this record, then suddenly when you listen to that record, you're like, this is like they're describing my life. Then you're like, well, there's a person that's just like me, and therefore I feel this connection with them.
Well, I think that's a nice way to kind of round things off.
Yeah, that was a nice way to finish.
It's now, of course, time for our game.
Oh, we got a game.
Yeah. I didn't really have a name for it. I just was thinking Parasocial to the tune of Psychosocial by Slipknot.
Oh,
That's
nice.
what I was
Okay,
imagining,
good. That works for me.
So you're just going to sing that then?
No, it's just Parasocial.
I don't think it's like my failing as a metalhead that when I was thinking about it earlier, I was going Parasocial, like the Coldplay song. It's like, damn, I should have gone Psychosocial myself.
I'll explain the concept.
Please do.
I have, before I ask you questions, I have looked into two things that I know you both love,
All right.
which is a Critical Role podcast.
Oh, yes.
That's you, I think.
I was like, is it you?
Yeah,
I think it's me.
and Harry Styles.
That is me.
Okay.
And
Do we need to explain Critical Role?
Critical Role, yeah, do you want to explain what Critical Role is?
Critical Role is it is a podcast, but it is mainly a Twitch streamed Dungeons and Dragons campaign created by a group of American voice actors, and it is in its third campaign, and they've taken it from a home game to this multi-million-pound business where they have this incredible community, and every episode's 5 hours long, and it's this big epic saga, and it got me through COVID in the best way, and I absolutely love it.
So say you got a parasocial relationship with it.
I have a parasocial relationship with every character and every cast member. Yes.
Amazing. And there's about 9 of them. So
Yes,
that's like
there is,
18
yeah.
people.
Yes. Yeah.
And Harry Styles is a pop star.
So head to head, Hannah versus Ross.
Okay.
Parasocial quiz. So Ross, your question is first. Jester is half tiefling and half what? And I can give you multiple choice for this if you want.
Yeah, go and give me a multiple choice, yeah.
Goliath, human, elf, genasi, or Azimer.
I'm going to say Genasi.
That's correct.
Yeah, I thought it was.
Well done.
Question 1 for Hannah. Before becoming a famous singer, what did Harry Styles want to be? A rugby player, B, an astronaut, C, a lawyer, or D, an architect? The contrast in this question is so funny.
Or E, a tiefling.
A goblin.
I can see him as an architect.
Is that your answer?
Yeah, sure.
Nah, he wants to be a lawyer. Did you not know that?
Oh, a lawyer!
Question 2, Ross. Caduceus grew up in A, a cemetery, B, a lawless town, or C, a graveyard?
Cemetery and a graveyard are the same thing.
Yeah. Oh. Well, so they are.
It's a graveyard / cemetery.
Yeah, it's a graveyard. Question 2, Hannah. Harry loves the 1997 film Titanic. True or false?
The contrast between these questions is so good, man.
Like, yeah, true.
Yeah, he does. He loves it.
That's a 50-50 as well.
Of course he does. He loves
See, he
sports.
quite likes it. He doesn't really think about it. Question 3, Ross. Who at Traveller Con found the golden dick? A. Jester. I don't know what this. Now, I did copies verbatim. This has got 7 multiple choice options.
No,
I've
Jester, Celia, Artigan, Claire, Kelbast, Kovac, or Bo.
Oh my god. That's like
Or Harry
I actually
Styles.
recently listened to that episode. Say Bo. I think that's wrong.
That's Bo.
That's incorrect. The answer is Celia. After Harry Styles went to #1 in America with Up All Night, what did he treat himself to? A, a mattress, B, a microwave, or C, a nice relaxing walk, or D, a new shirt?
Where did you get these from? This sounds like the
Have
type
you
of
added
stuff
your
you
own
would get
ones
in, like.
into
No, these are ones that I
Is
found.
this from like Girl Talk, like
It
2003?
was like something like that.
I want to say a walk,
A
but I
golden dick.
think it was probably like a mattress.
That's the correct
Yeah.
answer.
I just know him.
Question 4, Ross. Who previously owned Vex's Vestige? A, Artigan, B, Sondor, C, Fenthras, or D, Kalamajori?
Sondor.
Correct. That is a correct answer.
I listened to that in like 2019. No, whatever it was. 2020. When was COVID?
Question 4 for Hannah. What is Harry Styles' favourite American football team? Is it A, the New York Giants, B, Miami Porpoises, C, LA Tornadoes, or D, Green Bay Packers?
That's the Miami Dolphins, right?
It's just porpoises here. It's just like a fake quiz. I mean, like, now you said that, I'm like,
Do you remember Ace Ventura? It was a dolphin.
I want to say the porpoises, but I'm gonna say the New York one.
oh my god, the Green Bay Packers, sorry. Not the Miami porpoises.
Right, let's call it.
I think we all lost there.
Give a tiebreaker.
Actually, I think the main thing is you lost. Sorry.
Well, that's the end of Social Media Social Club for
That was
now.
chaotic. I loved it.
That was
Yeah.
really fun.
Really chaotic.
Ross, before you go, do you have anything you want to plug?
I plugged that podcast that I don't listen to anymore. Macho Grande podcast.
Nice.
Available on. I don't think it's even on Spotify. They're on
What's
like
it, on
they're on,
Deezer or something?
Yeah, it's on all that stuff. Like Apple Podcasts and things like that.
Does that make you feel better, giving them a plug?
It does. Yeah, now I'll start listening to them again.
Yeah, okay. Good.
See if they go, oh, that guy Ross called us out on a podcast. Yeah, go listen to that. It's nice if you like metal music.
Great. Hannah, where can people find us if they want to follow us on socials?
You can find us on Instagram and TikTok at socialmedia.socialclub. And YouTube is social media, social club.
Some of that, if you just type in the name. That might be nice.
Cheers.
Should be nice.
Like, comment, rate us 5 stars.
That's the end of it. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.